Hello, friends, and welcome back to your poetry writing. Today is Monday, April 20th, and I'm on slide 16 right here. It says for number one to watch the lesson video below, which you're doing right now, and for number two, review the next 8 Google Slides. So today you won't be doing any writing, you'll just be learning about some different forms of poetry. So let's get started right away on slide 17. This says shape and concrete poetry. Poetry takes on many forms. An artistic expression is for your poem to adopt the shape of its subject. Shape poems are either an outline or fill the space with an outline. Poetry within a space is also known as concrete poetry. Okay, so this is any style of poetry or writing can be applied. Okay, so you can do rhyming, you can do not rhyming poetry, anything you want. And you can start with an easy shape and change your text size for best fit. So basically, it is just a poem in a shape. And I believe we did read one of these poems in our reading books that was in the shape of, I think it was a boat or something like that. But this one, we have our examples here. We have a rainbow shaped poem about a rainbow and a whale shaped poem about a whale. So let's keep on moving on. Here, I'm going to move down to number 18. And I don't even really know how to pronounce this one, but I think it is Clarihu. A Clarihu is a light-hearted poem, consists of 2 couplets in a specific rhyming scheme of A, A, B, B. A Clarihu usually deals with a person or character within the first line. Clarihues have frequently been used to mock famous people, such as politicians and celebrities. So this one is about Zachary. Zachary is my grandson, with whom I had so much fun. He loves to laugh and smile. His face stretches for a mile. So a couplet, think of the word couple and think of a couplet as a poem with 2 lines. So this is 2 couplets. So 2 and then 2 more makes 4 lines for this poem. Okay, let's go on down to the next one. For slide 19, we have a diamond style. Okay, this is a 7-line contrast poem laid out in a diamond shaped. It is highly structured and simple to understand, so it tells you everything that you need in each line. Line 1 has a noun or a subject. Remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing. Line 2 has 2 adjectives, so it's 2 describing words. Line 3 has 3 ing words. Line 4 has 4 words about the subject. Line 5 has 3 ing words. Line 6 has 2 adjectives, and line 7 has a synonym / antonym for the subject. Okay, so it can be a synonym. I believe it can be a synonym or an antonym, but I think it's usually an antonym. Okay, so let's read this poem here. Rain, moist, damp, dripping, splashing, reinvigorating, cool, wet, clear, warm, shining, warming, heated, bright, hot, sun. See how it changed from rain to sun? That's pretty neat. Let's go on to slide 20. Tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are made up of lines that are hard to say fast. In other words, the poem ties your tongue into knots. Tongue twisters generally make no sense and are just fun. It says for some suggestions here, use the letters S, T, M, and N frequently, as these are difficult to repeat quickly. Be silly, creative, and have fun. So let's see how I do with reading this tongue twister. Streaming sands simmer, standing in some sun, like silver seashells stand selling by the seashore, while sleek, slithering snakes successfully scramble, making melted, matted monkey muscle money. That was a tough tongue twister. You should try to read that yourself. That was a hard one. The next one on slide 21 is Irish Limerick. A limerick is a rhyming, humorous, or nonsense poem of 5 lines. It has a rhyming pattern of A, B, B, A. Lines 1, 2, and 5 should contain 7 to 10 syllables. Line 3 and 4 should have 5 to 7 syllables. Limericks frequently start with there once was a. Okay, so this one says, I love to see the morning sun. That's how I tell the day's begun. Birds all singing a happy song. It is the place where I belong. Far from school, without the nun. Okay. So that's a really cool Irish limerick there. And keep in mind, in poetry, you don't have to follow all of the capitalization and punctuation rules. If you want to spell things in a funny way, you can do that with poetry. It's really fun that way. The next one here we have ballads. Okay, ballads most frequently deal with folklore, love, or popular legends. They are written in a simple verse with minimal detail. Ballads contain emotive language, inspiring imagery, and telling a story. Okay, so ballads most commonly. So there are no sets of rules for writing a ballad, but most commonly, and just so you know, I accidentally had these letters as white, so I couldn't read them at first, and I just had to pause and fix them. So there are no set of rules for writing a ballad, but most commonly, the first stanza is the most important as it introduces the story. Okay, so this is the first stanza right here. A stanza is kind of like a paragraph. Ballads consist of 4-line stanzas, so we can tell that these have 4 lines, all of these stanzas. Ballads can use any rhyming pattern. Our example uses A, A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, D, D, F, F, G, G, H, H, I, I. Ballads are usually written in the first person and focus on a single moment or event. Okay? So this one's about the turkey. As I walked along the road one day, kicking up stones along the way, I saw a bird of unusual size who had a large beak and small beady eyes. He strutted about and ruffled his wings. Then he did the most ominous thing. He let out a screech and pulled out his chest. I wanted to run from this evil pest. As this bird's mighty exterior did appear, the inside of my chest was filled with fear. He put one talon forward, the other one next. This troublesome bird was making me vexed. I then did something that was a great chance. I kicked a stone at him to stop his advance. He then chased the stone, oh joy of great joys. I felt myself one of the luckiest boys. Around the corner I ran, straight to my home, leaving that bird confused and alone. Don't befriend a turkey, for that's what he is, or he will attack you simply because. So it kind of reminds me of Dr. Seuss a little bit. So that was a ballad. Okay. Then this next one here, a palindrome, is really, really neat. A palindrome or shadow poem reads identical both forwards and backwards. And we've read one of these before in class. You must use the same words in the first half of the poem as the second half. Reverse the order for the second half. Use a well-considered word in the middle line as a bridge from the first half to the second half of the poem. So this poem would take a lot of thinking to create, but let's read this one. It says, sunrise. Mornings, fresh and clear, make sunrise spectacular with birds chirping. Glorious. Chirping birds with spectacular sunrise makes clear and fresh mornings. Notice how it is the same forward and backwards. And the very last one we have here is free verse. Free verse is a form of poetry free of traditional rules or rules of versification, rhyme, meter, or length. So basically, it doesn't have to follow any rules of poetry. In moving from line to line, the poet's main consideration is where to insert line breaks. Some ways of doing this include breaking where there is a natural pause or at the point of suspense for the reader. The only rule to remember with free verse is that there are no rules. Okay, so this one says, late on a cool fall night, while sitting on the riverbank, I noticed how the ripples cast a different texture to the setting sun. The colors of the sky, just right for this reason, red, orange, yellow, purple, even a tinge of blue, the river seems to mix them like a kaleidoscope. Seems there's no end to beauty as this endless array goes on and on. Then the distant sound of the frogs and crickets keeping time to this dancing spectacular. Then my heart goes quiet, my pulse slows down. I lay back and thank my Maker. So that was a free verse poem. And that is it for today. You do not have to write any poems. And I also want to tell you, don't worry about memorizing the types of poems or understanding every single little itty bitty thing about these poems. I know there's a lot of big words in here, and it's a lot to remember. So don't worry about that. The purpose of today was to just tell you all about some different types of poems that you might come across in your lifetime. Don't worry at all about understanding every single little thing. Okay, so for tomorrow and the rest of the week, you will be writing poems. So I will tell you all about that in our video tomorrow. Have a great day, guys.